My name is Ms.Topokiewicz. I am a trade specialist with the U.S. Department of Commerce based in our Chicago office. So you may have heard of us as the U.S. Commercial Service, or people have misunderstood us as the Embassy, the Chamber of Commerce, the everything under the sun business counseling center. We are also known as the U.S. Export Assistance Center because there are many of our centers around the country and worldwide as well, as I'll explain. We were originally under the State Department in terms of the commercial service, and what we are tasked to do and our mission is to promote exports. We help the export of U.S. products that are made here, but also services that are generated here. We focus on small and medium-sized companies. As Steve from the SBA can attest to, the SBA definition of a small and medium-sized company is 500 employees or less. That doesn't mean the larger corporations of more than 500 are excluded from our assistance, but that is our focus because we understand that those are the companies that may not have all of the resources at hand to really go forward and seize the world and conquer every market around that may be of interest to them. So with our global reach, we do have 1,400 specialists. I am only one of 8 in Chicago, and that is our largest office in the U.S. We are growing, actually just filling vacancies because it is a cumbersome process to get folks hired, but our global reach basically extends to the U.S. embassies because that is where our colleagues in the commercial section of the embassy are also involved in promoting U.S. exports. And we're involved in various ways. There is counseling, which is free. We are found online through referrals. A Google search will probably pop up our website in some form or another, or through outreach events such as this one today. We are there to educate. So as a resource, I see myself, for example, as a consultant, but we don't charge consulting fees because we are part of a federal agency. We do have some minimal fees for services that I'll go over because they, I think, really help a smaller company understand the game, how to take advantage of certain opportunities that are overseas that you would have never known otherwise. As I mentioned, the U.S. Export Assistance Centers are the U.S. offices. The embassies and the consulates overseas will have our staff there as well, and the staff are comprised of U.S. specialists, American specialists working with the foreign staff who are truly the experts in their areas. Experts in industries is how we are divided up in terms of the industry sectors or portfolios we cover. In your folder today, you received a one-page summary of our services. So feel free to look at that because on the back of that page is a list of our Chicago staff and which sectors and industries each staff person covers. In my case, I cover automotive parts and accessories, safety security equipment, and rail equipment. And so that means I help those companies that produce those types of products. Multiply that by all of our specialists around the world, and you could pretty much find someone who covers something that you are either selling, making, or trying to make or sell. Ideally, we would want you to come through our office first. If you're not in the Chicago area, we do have offices in Peoria and Rockford, but of course there's over 100 other offices in the US. So it's a matter of finding the closest trade specialist to you to take advantage of the information they have at the tip of their fingertips. Some basic trade stats, just because if you notice the top export sectors are chemicals and computers and petroleum and coal and machinery, and maybe none of us here are involved in any of that. That's okay, that's just some of the numbers, but our state of Illinois is so diverse. We're not a Silicon Valley where it's all IT and computers or certain other types of product-specific areas. We have everything under the sun, and our staff listing reflects that. And there's plenty other opportunities there, so don't feel limited if just looking at the slide, all you see are those sectors and those top markets. We are here to learn about Latin America and the opportunities there, but in most cases, Canada and Mexico will be your first and not necessarily first market of entry, but they are the first 2 markets that have the largest amount of U.S. exports. Mary mentioned the National Export Initiative, and this was started by the Obama administration to double exports in 5 years. Well, 5 years have passed. The goal has been met, but we are not stopping at that goal because there's plenty more consumers in the world that can take advantage of what we have to sell and perhaps grow our local businesses, which will in turn grow U.S. jobs, which was the whole point and objective of this initiative. The following slides, I'll cover some of the services that are on that one-page paper, but there's just so many that I wouldn't want to go over every single thing because we have a lot of other interesting speakers here as well. The services are varied. So if you're considering developing a marketing strategy, you may already have a lead that you've gotten off of a website, someone that you met at a trade show, you already have their business card, perhaps you just don't know, are they legit? Are they maybe a scam waiting to happen? Are they maybe very eager but just can't deal with the financial side of paying for your product? And we can help you get to that point of finding the right terms and maybe the right partners here in the local Illinois area to make that actual sale take place. Maybe you have absolutely no leads, no nothing, but you're just looking and trying to learn. And so we have something for you too. The market research, I always start from that perspective in educating and providing as many market reports. I may bombard a new client with links to all of these free reports. And what you see on the slide is just an example for the markets of focus today, Brazil, Colombia, and Panama. Each of these is a specific report that was written by my colleague overseas because they are the expert in that area. For example, in Brazil, there is an Olympics tender report because in 2016, there will be Olympics held in Rio. And every month, we have a newsletter from the Rio office in Sao Paulo saying, here are the latest opportunities for U.S. companies. Sometimes they need perimeter fencing, hospital beds, some kind of random little product or larger multi-integrated system for security, for housing the athletes that will be attending the games. So this very specific report is available. Maybe it's something that'll be a perfect match, but maybe it won't, but at least you know what's out there. Same thing, as you notice, in each of these markets, none of the reports are duplicated. Not that there's more in there, I just didn't have room on my slide to really show you the depth of the research that we have available. And that link is basically to a search database for you to find specific reports based on country or industry. They are constantly updated, this database, with more reports, so feel free to check regularly, or if it's a little overwhelming, for example, the Safety Security Resource Guide, it's over 100 pages and covers just safety security in 50+ countries. In addition to the reports, I always like to share the Country Commercial Guide because it is about 100 pages on a specific country where we are present, and it has a great template that follows political trends, economic trends, and down the line, best prospect sectors, investment strategies, and so forth. So this Country Commercial Guide is also found on this database. If a company already knows everything about the market you're interested in, you don't need more reports, you just need to get on a plane and go find some business. You feel confident, you have the commitment from perhaps senior management or yourself and budget allows. This is a service, the Gold Key Matchmaking service, that is our most popular and most successful. Not that the others are not successful, but this is just really convenient in terms of matching a client's needs. We are able to set up meetings, and when I say we, it's the colleagues overseas at the embassy. They set up meetings based on a U.S. company's needs. Maybe you're looking to appoint new reps or sales agents or distributors, or maybe you're just looking to meet with certain government ministries or a combination. Whatever that need is in the type of meeting, our colleagues will try to arrange that appointment. And it's a day long, maybe 4 to 6 appointments. If you need more and you have more, of course you could stay longer. And there's usually a market briefing that our colleague provides to the U.S. company first. The colleague attends the meetings with the U.S. company. If a translator is needed, that can be arranged. But then the post-meeting, there's a debriefing because Me, the person on the US side, would like to know, well, what happened in all of those meetings and how can we help with the follow-up, the communication? Maybe if it was all in English and everything seemed great, heads were nodding, deal's gonna happen in the next few weeks or months. You come back and they never answer an email from you. They don't answer your calls and you thought, I just spent all this money and I met these great people and it was basically no results. Well, you always have to know that in certain regions of the world, certain cultures, they don't communicate like we do through email and phone calls. They want person to person. They want you to follow up with another trip. Maybe a little nudge from our colleague at the embassy will help them to remember, okay, answer your call. The gatekeeper, maybe it's a secretary who's really good at stopping all incoming messages, didn't realize what a great meeting was had, and this is the next step with follow-up. So in terms of a gold key matchmaking service, it can be provided in tandem with a trade show. If a client is already going to a trade show somewhere around the world, you have a booth, you're exhibiting, or even if you're not exhibiting, you're just going, why not kill two birds with one stone? Have these matchmaking meetings the day before the trade show starts or the day after, because all the key players in that industry are already on the ground from multiple cities within that country, whether it's the huge IT show in Germany, CeBIT, or a smaller automotive parts show in Panama. You're there once, yet you get many more meetings than just standing at a booth hoping for business cards to come your way. It's just one strategy, not necessarily the best for a company situation. I mentioned if you already have someone knocking on your door, calling you and wanting to place an order, and maybe they say, you know, if you send half the shipment now, I'll pay you for half and the rest when it arrives. Well, hold on. I wouldn't send anything until I know who exactly I'm dealing with, and just because their website has a pretty picture and an address doesn't necessarily mean they are who they are. This is the company profile, which I call the background check. It is something that is for a fee, and our colleagues overseas will physically go to that location and like knock on the door or the warehouse or whatever it is. They will provide some financial references and meet with these people to see how legitimate they are and provide a report back to the U.S. company. Sometimes it takes longer. It could be, you know, in the boonies somewhere, and you just can't call on that foreign buyer the next day. So time is of the essence. So the more time we're given, the more time we can provide quality information to the U.S. company. And these types of services are available worldwide. It could be you already have all the info, but you just want to make sure it's legitimate. So share with the info you have with us, and we can double check for you. This is a promotion, the single company promotion. It's a way of devising your marketing strategy for a company who's maybe already in the market. Maybe you're already in Colombia, but your company has a new product and wants to have a big showcase and a splash and put on a demo of the product or a video clips, whatever combination of promotion. And that could be very customized, because this could be done as a breakfast roundtable, as a luncheon or a reception at the ambassador's residence. It could be done at some major trade show, and you rent a space in the convention center of that trade show because it works well with trying to attract interest. Formal invitations can be sent through our embassy colleagues. The venue and everything under the sun can be arranged pretty much by our local staff, tailoring to whatever interests a U.S. company may have. It could be new product line that involves huge types of trucks, tractors, attachments, accessories. So you don't want to just send out a brochure and an email with the attachment and say, we have a new product, check out our website. Maybe if the budget allows, and whatever it may be, we can work with your company. I witnessed such a promotion in Warsaw, Poland. And what they did is a breakfast, briefing style. Everyone was in the room at the same time. And this was private sector and the public sector, such as municipal, the military at the highest level down to the police from the local city level. And it was a security equipment service solution. So they did the video clips, they had the general briefing. After the lunch, they had one-on-one meetings. Basically that gold key matchmaking service. And the meetings were right there in the same hotel area, so that you didn't have to go drive across the country meeting all these people. It was all held in one room within one day. And they were very pleased with it because they were doing these very same promotions throughout Europe. So they had a road trip through Italy and other countries where the same thing was given and they didn't have to go back and forth flying all over the world. Now, for more specific information about the Americas, which is why we're here, the services I mentioned are available worldwide. But we have colleagues who have specific responsibilities in their portfolio to promote the Americas. And this is the website where the leads and events and any kind of specific market reports can be found on export.gov/Trade Americas. I mentioned the report Getting Paid by Your Latin American Buyer. It's in Spanish, Portuguese, and English. It's great because it goes over some of the options that Steve just covered from the SBA and that Mike from Exim Bank will also cover. You never know what you don't know, so why not pick up a report and kind of give yourself a short lesson on all things under the sun. I would be remiss not to mention this fabulous event that is happening in Miami in May. This is part of our nationwide Discover Global Markets. You may have been not spammed, but bombarded in your email with lots of Discover Global Markets email messages because they're not only in Miami. One happened in Silicon Valley. We had one in Minneapolis before Thanksgiving. And they each have a different focus. This one is the Americas, and as you see, it's basically a business conference in addition to one-on-one meetings with our overseas colleagues that will be representing these countries. They are coming to also bring foreign buyer delegations. In this case, there's one from Mexico and the Dominican Republic focusing on airport and port infrastructure. So it's very specific. Don't feel that you're just going to hear about how to do business in Colombia and then repeat Chile and repeat Argentina. And then you could sit there and basically Google all this info and why go to Miami other than it is Miami. And I get to go too, so you'll see me there. But it's something that is very exciting because it's not just a room of 50 people. There's 200 to 300 people who come to the business conference, but they also come for these one-on-one consultations. Part of the Trade America's website also has this initiative called Look South. If you're already doing business in Canada or in Mexico, the idea is, hey, why don't you look further south? There's Peru, there's Panama, Guatemala, there's all these rich markets, rich meaning diverse and full of opportunity, that people aren't always thinking about because they only see the headlines. Oh, Brazil, that's huge, untapped market. Well, also Brazil has a lot of challenges. Free trade agreements. They are with Chile. One recently was signed with Colombia. So why not take advantage and not have to pay tariffs and duties to one of these countries where the U.S. already has an established agreement? The event focusing on this area of the world will be a business conference and a trade mission later in June, and this will be in Guatemala. So once again, if you go to that export.gov Trade Americas site, there's plenty of info, or you can reach out to me because sometimes it's just easier to reach out to a person versus digging around on a website forever and not finding too much information and not knowing how to prioritize the information. This slide with our partners is very valuable, I think, because they're right here in front of you, and you'll be here. You heard from Steve. You heard from Mary with SBDC here at University Park. Margot is with the state government of state of Illinois. And there's plenty of associations out there. You may be part of some. We may know of some that you don't necessarily have any idea how they promote exporting and support marketing and opportunities in countries that would have never been something that crossed your mind. So if we don't have an answer, whether specific to your question, we have partners who can help you. They have the financing expertise, maybe logistics, FedEx and UPS, documentation. There's only so much we know. Even though my title says trade specialist, I still consider myself a generalist because every day there's a new question that comes through, and I'm grateful to have learned something new to add to my little toolkit when I counsel a company. And so do not forget this website, export.gov. From there, you'll find all of those reports and information on services, the Trade Americas section, looking south, or looking north, east, west, wherever you may want to go. Just remember this site, and if you have any questions, I did leave a different flyer at the front table where our name tags were, and my business card. If you're interested, feel free to reach out. Thank you.